Hi, this is Paul. I'm recording this video in June of 2022 at a time when there are big changes coming to Google Analytics. A few years ago, Google introduced Google Analytics 4, also called GA4. But recently, Google announced they are discontinuing their previous version of Google Analytics called Universal Analytics. In fact, if you log into your Google Analytics account, you'll see this notice at the top that Universal Analytics will no longer process new data in standard properties beginning July 1, 2023. Now, not only will Universal Analytics no longer process new data starting July 1st of next year, but there's also no way to transfer data from Universal Analytics to Google Analytics 4. Now, that may seem like a long way away. It's over a year from now. However, some of the most useful insights come from making year-over-year comparisons in Google Analytics. For example, if you want to know how many people visited your website from search engines this May compared to last May, that's a year-over-year insight, and that's really helpful because a lot of times things change month to month. And so having that year-over-year data is really helpful. But since there isn't any way to transfer data from Universal Analytics to GA4, if you want to be able to make year-over-year comparisons next July, when Universal Analytics is gone, you have to start collecting data in GA4 by July 1st of this year. Does that make sense? If you want data next year, you got to start collecting it this year. And if you want to continue to make year-over-year comparisons for the rest of the next year, you have to continue to collect data in Universal Analytics. So, all of that said, what we're going to show you in this video is how to first set up a property for your website in Google Analytics 4, and then second, how to integrate Google Analytics 4 with your website while also continuing to collect data in Universal Analytics. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope so. Sounds a little complicated, but we're going to show you step by step how to do it. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is log into Google Analytics and then go and click the admin at the bottom. And then when you see this screen with the three columns, you go under the property column to tracking info, click on tracking code, and you're going to need to copy and paste this tracking code into a text document like this right here. Copy and paste it right in because you're going to need that in a little bit. All right? Then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to set up your Google Analytics 4 property. And to do that, you click on the Let's Go button. And you follow the steps after that. There's a few quick steps, and I'm not going to show you how to do it here because sometimes Google Analytics changes its stuff. So I'm going to write down how to do that. It's going to be in the help page, and you can read those steps here. Okay? So after you have set up your Google Analytics 4 profile, you're going to come back into admin, and under the property setting, select GA4. And then you're going to go to the home menu, click on there, and you're going to see that it says to start collecting data, make sure your website is tagged using the measurement ID, and then it'll provide you with the measurement ID. So this measurement ID you are also going to need, so copy that and also paste that into Notepad or a text document like that. Okay? All right, so that's the information you're going to need from Google Analytics. Then the next step is to log into MyOCC and go to your WPEZ dashboard, which looks like this. You go to the More menu and select Google Analytics. and then you go to Plugin Settings. Now you'll see here it's currently set up with Universal Analytics, and so now we need to make the changes to set it up so that it is tracking both Universal Analytics and GA4. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our tracking ID, which is that Google Analytics 4 measurement ID. We hit C to copy and V to paste it in. Now we're going to switch from Universal Analytics to Global Site Tag, and then we are going to scroll down to Custom Code, and we are going to take the code from Universal Analytics, hit Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and then we're going to come down here to disable tracking of admin users. We're going to check this box because we don't want ourselves as the admin of the site for our clicks and everything to factor into the data. So we want to disable whenever admins are using the site. So we're going to do that, and we're going to click Save Changes, and that's it. Now you are tracking both. You're tracking data in both Universal Analytics and GA4, and so for the next year, when you are tracking data, you can go in and use Universal Analytics and get your data that way. And then a year from now, July 1st, when it's time to switch to GA4, you'll come back in, you'll switch to the GA4 property, and then you'll be able to check all of your data there, including year-over-year comparisons. So that is how you transition from Universal Analytics to GA4.